That's great. Well played. Fantastic. Thank you, Secretary General. Thanks to our host, Taoiseach. And though you speak so immodestly about our country, I found you to be a very modest man yourself. They don't teach modesty at Rockstar School. My wife sent me to modesty school. I'm fine now. In fact, I'm better than most people at it. There is, truth to be told, a kind of braggadocio at the centre of the Irish psyche. You could call it small island syndrome, small rock star syndrome. But Irish people, we write ourselves into every story. I'm sitting there in Nashville with the great Johnny Cash, and I'm telling him the Irish invented country music. This is not true. An Irish kid working in a bar is telling you that we've more Nobel laureates per head of population than anywhere else. This is not true. The taxi driver today that brought you from Paris or Lisbon or Brussels or Berlin, he's telling you that the Irish saved civilization itself in the Middle Ages. Now this might be true. We genuinely believe that the United States of America is our colony. You too. You two were just at the Oscars, failing to wrestle a little gold man out of the hands of a Disney character. And someone, I think it was The Edge, pointed out that the little gold statuettes were designed by a man from Roscommon called Austin Cedric Gibbons. This is true. Google it. We write ourselves into every story, like the European story. And this is what I want to speak with you about this afternoon. It's hard to imagine that Ireland could easily not have joined the EEC. But the Taoiseach, back then in 1972, Jack Lynch, has been proven right in his prediction that an Ireland in Europe would mean a better Ireland and a better Europe. And thank you. And you know, I think Ireland can be even more useful as Europe goes forward. Europe needs storytellers, and we are a nation of them. We're good at anthems too, if we've got a clear top-line melody, which Europe hasn't always had. But if we've got the top-line melody, we can sing it out. Also, we get around. As island people, we're very aware of our neighbours, not just our own, but Europe's, especially Europe's gigantic next-door neighbour, Africa. And that might be important, as the population of that magnificent continent gets to 2 billion by 2050. I am very proud that Irish aid budgets have roughly stayed the course, despite the duress here of the last few years. Incredible. 80% of Irish people who are hurting the hardest in the middle of this financial crisis supported maintaining our aid levels. And that makes me very, very proud to be Irish. The Irish have an easy solidarity with the world's poorest because not that long ago we were them. And were it not for good leadership, a lot of it in this room, recently we could have been again. We've got our Taoiseach, our finance minister, amongst others to thank for that. I find it hard to tell the Taoiseach to his face of my gratitude, as he has told me to mine that he prefers Bruce Springsteen to music. Now, I've explained to the man from Mayo that we are a long way from New Jersey. He just looks at me and says, you know, Bruce's people were from Mullingar, Bono. Did you know Bruce Springsteen was personally instructed by Irish nuns? Google that. Anyhow, I may be hurt, but deep down I understand, as he understands when I thank Tánaiste Eamon Gilmore for his role in getting us through our financial woes. And not only him. I now want to use a word that to this audience is the equivalent of letting off a stink bomb. The word is coalition. Because it really has taken a lot of collaboration and compromise to get from there to here. And we have to credit the Labour Party and President Higgins for their part in this recovery. Real leadership has cost them real votes, and I personally appreciate it. May not make me popular around here, but I'm going to say it also. Europe has heroes on both sides of the aisle, Chancellor Merkel, President Barroso, President Van Rompuy, and Kenny. But it also has President Hollande, Minister Thorning-Schmidt, and the man I found to be a tireless worker on behalf of the world's poor, and also a great European, Martin Schulz. Now, no one else is going to say that name in this building right now. In fact, my microphone's just going off there. So before it is, I want to give an enormous shout-out. The biggest shout-out I have in my heart to the Irish people who A, were screwed, and B, fought back with dignity. Irish people don't bruise easily, but we do not like the feeling of being bullied. And when the public sector had to pay for the arrogance of private sector stupidity, we got both bullied and bruised, and that was not fair. In the end, we're coming through. I'd love to say it was the Troika, but I think, frankly, it was despite the Troika. The way we see it, the Irish people bailed the Irish people out. Capitalism can be a great thing, I should know. It's taken more people out of poverty than any other system, but let's not bow down to it. Let's not make a golden calf of it. While it might not be immoral, it most certainly is amoral. It's a bit of a beast. It needs us to wrestle it, beat it into shape, give it instructions, so it serves our values rather than the other way around. This is much like Europe itself. Europe is still taking shape. This European